Hello, beautiful Lovetarians. This is Natalia, PH, with the Lovetarian Way podcast. Today we'll talk about osteopathy and releasing pain from your body. How osteopathy can actually help activate self-healing abilities of your body. And for that, I have an excellent expert that I invited for this conversation. She is a Dutch-trained osteopath, Anne Den Ouden. I hope I am pronouncing this name correctly, and I'm bringing our beautiful guest in. Hello, Anne.
Yes,
welcome.
Hi. Thank you. No, you correctly pronounced it, so there was not a problem with that. Yes.
Perfect. So, yeah. Would you tell our audience, because I said Dutch trained osteopath, right? So, how is that different than any other trained osteopath?
In Holland or the Netherlands, there is a different way of teaching how you become an osteopath. It's a little bit the same like in Belgium, in France, also in Germany. Those are the same ways. But if you look more towards the UK or America or Canada, it's differently. In the Netherlands, we are being trained in all the fields of osteopathy. And that means that we're doing a lot of training in musculoskeletal information like anatomy, physiology, but also all the techniques. We're learning a lot about all the organs, all the visceral techniques and how we can move them, but also the craniosacral aspect about osteopathy. And if we look at into relationship with the UK, they only trained for the first couple of years for musculoskeletal techniques. And then they do get their diploma. And after that, they can do the visceral and the craniosacral techniques. But here in Europe, and especially in the Netherlands as well, we have all three together, and it's making it more holistic. I can't see any of the aspects without each other. I can't treat the body only with musculoskeletal technique, so working only on a muscle where somebody has pain. I have to look at the entire body.
Yeah. Okay, and that's why I invited you actually here, because this is the Lovetarian Way podcast, and we, as Lovetarians, we believe in holistic care. So we have mind, we have body, we have spirit, and if you detach, that's what traditional medicine tends to do, correct? That they detach. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about, because I know that you are actually also intensive care nurse. You went into this compassionate career. You must have cared about people that you've chosen such a career. You had your clinic in Qatar, right? I believe the osteopathic clinic.
Yeah, I worked for a physiotherapy clinic, but I was in Qatar because we moved there together with the family and for my husband's work. And I started working there as an osteopath in the clinic. And I was the first osteopath in Qatar. So that was really nice. And I taught the patients there a lot about their body and how they can heal themselves. And also because in Qatar, not everybody knows a lot about their body. So I really had to teach them like the basic principles, like how much water you need to drink during the day, which here in Europe for a lot of people is normal. Like common sense that you know how much you need to drink, but that's not always like that. So we're also teaching our patients what is good for their body, and not only we help them with our treatment, but we're also teaching them how they can take care of their body and prevent injuries or sickness in the future.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. So when we say we encourage people to come and visit osteopath, they can actually come to see you. Sorry, my throat is needing some water. Hold on.
Yes.
Wonder what that tells me, right? My communication center during this call.
Yes. You maybe are in need of a little bit more water than you thought you had. Yeah.
The body happens to have messages, right?
Yes.
For us. So I'm going to honor its wisdom, and I'm going to nourish it.
Yes. Listen to it.
But tell us. So we say, okay, if you have any problem in your body, actually, I came to see you because I had a lot of pain in my chest, in my upper, in my heart chakra, right, and my back.
Yes.
And I felt holistically what it might be. There is a lot of conflict within my body. There is, there's this I want to do, that I want to do, and it showed over the years as misalignment, right?
Yes.
Why not? Let's take me as an example. What did my body tell you? I'm sharing my whole body.
Yes.
So how is that?
Well, if we relate it to when you came in as a patient for me, and what I do in the beginning is I'm going to examine your entire body. So not only when you said, okay, I feel that my heart chakra or my chest feels differently, I have pain in my back between my shoulders, I'm going to examine everything. So even your feet, your legs, your shoulders, your neck, and how your organs are moving. And for me, it's really important that you can share your story about what's going on within you as a person and what your past is. But your body is telling me everything that I need to know. So I'm going to examine everything and see how everything is mobilizing. And it's not only the mobility is good and bad. It's like, how much can we mobilize? You can close a door and it can go really easy that you can close a door. Or you can close it and it's really hard to close it, but the end result is still the same. But the way you close the door is a different feeling. So that's also really important that you notice, like, yes, I can move it straight to the left and the right, but the feeling is different, how I get there. And in your problem or in your body, there was a lot of problems with your stomach. And your stomach wasn't mobilizing well in relationship with your diaphragm, going more upwards towards your mediastinum. So now we're working on getting more mobility in your stomach. So if we're not only looking at how the stomach function with how the mobility is, it has mobility when we breathe in, when our diaphragm goes down, and the stomach also rotates a little bit and goes downwards with that as well. But also it has a mobility from embryology, like how we've been built as persons. It has a mobility in that as well. So as an osteopath, we're working with those mobilities. So I created already in the last couple of sessions, and I have to think I've saw you 3-4 times now. So we created a lot more mobility on your stomach, which was pulling a lot on your shoulders with all the ligaments and attachments that it has. So then it creates some freedom for you to stand up more straight and get more mobility. And now we're in the next phase of going more towards the mediastinum, so your chest in the middle, and with the muscles in the back.
Yeah, and when you look, thank you. And when you look at where this pain was, it took, obviously, I was working on this pain for years, right? It didn't just happen overnight.
No.
So you are also looking at things from the psychological point of view, energetic point of view, nutritional point of view, right? So the conclusions for me were clear that I was not having balance in my life, being a high fire person. You even told me something very interesting in our last session, that my body is not maybe ready for all this tempo or energy that I have. So you need to also get a little bit more grounded, right, in your body. If your body is screaming and giving you pain, it's not that it's punishing you. There's a message for you, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it's really hard nowadays to listen really good to the body and hear what it's telling you, or it's telling us. We get so much information, like even now you're sipping on your coffee or tea, but so it's telling you, tea, really nice. So it's telling you something that you are like a little bit short on water or anything, and that reaction is listening into it. So you want to drink a little bit more. So during the day, we get so much information of our body, but not always there are the correct ones. Like people who are eating a lot and always think that they're hungry. It's not always a hungry signal. 9 out of the 10 times, it's the body telling you that it's thirsty, but we translate that into hunger and we eat something. And over the years, if we look into evolution, we have not learned how to listen good to the body anymore. Like animals are way more in touch with their body than we are. If a dog is sick, my dogs, they will start getting some grass out of the land and eating that. So they're feeling that they need to vomit and that they're helping their body. We don't feel that until we're sick.
Yeah.
And we're missing a lot of signs with that.
Yeah, that's true. And also, wouldn't you agree when you talked about feeling hungry or certain people who are, well, I'm going to say it, society might judge people who are obese or overweight, saying oftentimes that they don't have control. But oftentimes it is actually true that their satiation mechanism is somewhat turned off and confused by the biochemistry, right, of the foods that they feed themselves, or even their thoughts and their emotions. They actually do truly genuinely feel hungry, right? What would you say about that?
Yes. Well, that's always hard. It's differently that people are having overweight, and there are different mechanisms that can be in play, or in that it starts why people are getting overweight. So there can be a lot of emotional aspects with that as well. That's why it's so complicated for people when they're overweight also to lose their weight, not only because their body is maybe not ready to change the metabolism, and also their cells are not ready. Our cells are creating our metabolism in our body. So if we want to lose weight, our cells need to start working harder to burn our excess in fat and start getting better with that. But it's really complex with women. There's a lot of hormonal issues that can, change that balance, and people can try really hard and then still don't lose any weight. So people need to find not a general way of losing weight with a specific diet, or that they heard from somebody that their neighbor lost weight due to a certain way of eating or exercises. No, people need to search the way that works for their body. And that starts with listening. Like if you're not a runner, start walking. And then if that's okay for your body and it feels good and you don't get a lot of pain or anything, keep doing that. Like walking is really good. You're using your big leg muscles, which get your metabolism up, and they're burning a lot of energy while you use them. So listen to your body, what you need. And in specific times during your life, your body needs different things. And that's the hardest part. Like if you lost weight in the past with a specific diet, in a couple of years, that specific diet might not even work for you the second time around, because your body is totally different at that time. And that makes it really hard.
I agree with you very much, because having had my own experience with 20 plus years of eating disorder, the only way I was able to heal my body was to really look deeply into what my body was telling me, what thoughts I was perpetuating, what emotions I was feeling, and how I was actually having a relationship with myself. And that's the whole basis of the Lovetarian way, that you really truly need to embrace what we believe is our true nature, unconditionally loving source, and you are that source. So if you embrace that nature, if you love yourself truly, not how you're supposed to love yourself, but really
or what people think.
exactly, genuine self-love. Like you look in a mirror, not doesn't matter if you have whatever you look like, whatever you feel like, actually at the moment in time, your unconditional self-love is a state of being. It's like your natural state. It is something that we have forgotten because of all those societal expectations and programming and so on that has been imprinted on us. But if you can generally, right, embrace that true nature of yours, the healing will truly begin. And in a way, I believe that this is what you are doing, because you are helping us by the mobility exercises, by conversation. You're helping people to come back to balance so that they can hear the body better, they can feel the body better, and then everything will start changing, right, eventually.
Yeah, as osteopaths, and even me as a person or people itself, I only facilitate the body by mobilizing certain structures, which can be muscles, which can be the way an organ is attached to the body, and making sure that the layers around the organ are more mobile and free, so that the organ itself can mobilize better. But I only facilitate the body so that the body can, after that, heal itself again. And that's what we're looking for. The body is stuck at a certain time, and that's like we have a certain problem that we have. Like I sprained my ankle. Straight away when I sprain my ankle, I rotate my foot a little bit different or put it differently with walking, because then it's less painful. And that what the body does automatically. It's not that we're thinking, oh, if I put my foot down like this, I have less pain. No, your body does that for you without thinking, because that costs less energy of your body, because having a lot of pain costs a lot of energy. People with having chronically pain also notice that they're tired a lot, because that consumes a lot of energy. So the body can heal an ankle sprain after a while by also getting back to the normal position again, but sometimes it doesn't completely heal. And then you have a different way of putting your foot down, which can create later on other problems towards your knee, towards your hip, lower back. And without noticing that, and we don't have only an ankle sprain, but we also have a lot of stress. We have that we not always eat healthy. There's a lot of things during a life, and together that can make sure that the body is stuck at a certain moment. And that's the moment when patients come to me, that they say, I don't know what to do anymore. I have back pain. I have, what you said, like my chest and my back is hurting. Sometimes people say, and that's really nice, that they say, oh, I come to make sure that I stay healthy as a prevention, which is really good, because then you can work on certain structures that are not mobile, and that you can prevent things for our illnesses to come in the future, which is really nice.
Great, thank you. And what would be the difference between osteopathy and, for example, chiropractic?
There is a big difference. The main difference that patients are noticing is that, yes, osteopaths also manipulate. So I also manipulate in the spine or the pelvis or any other structures. But chiropractic mainly focus on putting the spine back into place and make sure that everything is aligned. And osteopaths are looking more holistically towards the body and saying, okay, yes, that vertebrae is out of its place, but why is that? I can put it back in its place, but if there's something else pulling, like for example, in the pelvis, it can be a uterus, which is a little bit differently mobilization of women. Then it can pull on your vertebrae. And if I can only put the vertebrae back, it's not going to change anything with the uterus. So that starts pulling again. So we need to change where the source of the problem is coming from, and not only where we have the pain. And that's the big difference, is that osteopaths are looking at the source of the problem and not only where the symptom is.
Right. Yeah. And you also, well, I mentioned that before, you help people with nutrition and psychology, and we always have a little chat. Yeah. So do you do an interview with a person? You go deep into their issues? Do you really actually talk about energy centers as well? How do you approach that?
Well, mostly, and that's also because I've been, as a nurse, as my previous job, I've been taught like to take a thorough like interview in the beginning, or like go to the history. And when we're going through the history together to see what's going on in the body, what the problems are now, if people had surgeries, how they're eating, if they have any sleeping problems, there are already some red flags coming above. And that means that things are really important for me to either examine more thoroughly, or that if somebody has in their history that they had a surgery at the lower back, I can't do a manipulation on that certain part, because is a higher risk. So I need to take that in consideration to see what's going on. And together with working as a nurse for a lot of years, working as an osteopath now for almost 12 years, if I calculate really quickly, you also start noticing people, what the problem is. I did a course in organ psychology to see what the links are and how the mobility of the organ and the functional way the organ works, and what the relation is with psychology with that, because it's in our cells. It's not only what people think psychology is in our head, it's in our body. Yes. And that's also what researchers know now, that there's a lot more information coming from out of our body towards our brain than the other way around. Yes. So there's new information coming all the time, which is only strengthening the way osteopaths are thinking and are treating patients. And that's really nice to notice that.
Perfect. Can you actually think about examples of what you help people with specific, maybe disorders or whatever? Can you give us some examples?
It's a wide variety. I treat patients from newborns till they're really old, so there's a lot of age differences in it. With babies, I see a lot of babies who have problems with colics. We have reflux, so that they throw up their feeding after they've been fed, who are uncomfortable, crying a lot, with sleeping problems. That they have a flattening of the head to one side because they look to one side a little bit more when they're laying in their crib or sleeping, and that flattens the head. So that's what children and babies a lot. Then a lot of times we don't see a lot of children when they're growing up only with specific problems until they're like teenagers, because they're so mobile, so flexible. A lot of things are changing, and only with big problems they will come to an osteopath. But the self-healing mechanism of the body is then so flexible that we don't see the children from 3 till teenagers a lot. We see them occasionally. And then from teenagers to adults, we see a lot of patients with back problems, of course, that they have pain in the back, that they have radiation problems towards the arms, or pain in the shoulders. So a lot of functional problems, which are musculoskeletal system. But I also see a lot of patients with problems in their organ system, so digestive problems, with stool and bowel problems, like if they are constipated a lot, or they have a lot of pain in their stomach, acidity. We see that as well. And next to that, I see also a lot of patients that come in as a prevention to make sure that the body is as mobile as it can get. It's like in the optimum state. And then you prevent a lot of problems from happening.
Yeah. Well, so basically people, whether they have a problem or they just want to focus on prevention, they can always come and see you, and you can help them align better, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's just like everybody can come. A lot of times people just have questions and they don't know if I can treat them. And I always examine the body in the first appointment, and then we check out, okay, what's going on with the body and what can I as an osteopath change in that. So even when you have a problem like with your back, and that's where it's painful, and I find that the base of the source of the problem is in the belly, I always explain why that is or what the connection might be, so that people also understand why that I'm treating them there. And then I start also in the first session the treatment, and then we go on from that.
Yes, obviously, I'm getting some questions here about specific cases.
Yeah,
I'm just going to ask. However, I believe that you probably would say that you would need to see them. But somebody is asking, okay, I have pain. I have pain in my neck. Can you help with that?
Yes.
You can't tell them why the pain is there.
Of course, yes. I can't see. Yes, I can't see with if somebody asks, like, I have back pain or a neck pain, what the cause of the problem is. But I see so many patients with neck pain that I really know that, yes, I can help. Then, of course, I need to examine them and see what the source of the problem is. But being an osteopath for a lot of years, there are not a lot of patients which I say I can't help people with. And I have a little bit, and maybe that's also a little bit from my background as a nurse, that I want to make sure that people get better. And if I'm not the one that can help them with that, I will find another way. So I have a little bit of principle that I say, okay, I'm going to work with patients. I'm going to examine what's going on. I do the treatments. We see in the next treatment what's going on, how the changes are. And we want to see difference is at least in a couple of sessions. Of course, the body, if you have neck pain, for example, for 15 years, I can't change that miraculously in one session. If I could do that, that would be really nice, and that's always our hope, but that's not reality. So we need to have a couple of sessions to make a change in the body. And of course, sometimes I see patients once or twice, and that's perfect, but that doesn't always happen. So I always say we need to see at least in 3 sessions, we need to see a drastic change in what's going on. And if that's not the case, we need to discuss, okay, what's going on? what can we check, what's can help the patient, or who can I bring in? Does anybody need insoles, or does anybody need another therapy? Or sometimes I had patients that I thought that needs to go first to a psychologist, because there's so much going on with that person that I can work on it, but there's so much internal blockage. Let's first deal with that and then come back to me, because otherwise it doesn't work.
Now I've got to put some context onto this conversation, because we have a lot of conversations actually in our sessions. Yes. And as you know, I'm fascinated, and I want to become. I am a quantum master of my reality, and you are always laughing at this, because here I am quantum master. As yes, that's my aspiration, if you will, and that's my true nature. However, I am Natalia in this body, and Natalia is experiencing certain things in her body, and lands at Anna, who is an osteopath, right, helping me align my body. But this big aspiration, big dream, big work is to become a quantum master. What does that mean? That means that as a quantum person, I believe that, for example, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, that every disease is a problem of lowering the frequency of the body, right? So we're looking at disease as a energetic being, not so much as a matter. Matter is a consequence of the quantum work, and this energy will create the matter. So of course that's a work, right? That's a work that requires focus, that requires very big presence, breath work, blah 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 blah, lots of things. Yes. So as a human, as a human person, which most of us still are living as a spiritual being, having a human experience, right? We are very helped by people such as yourself, by people, holistic practitioners, who, shall we say, bring us back to planet Earth, and allow that quantum energy flow better, right?
Yes.
Because no matter how many lectures I attend to, if I still have not received the result by doing the quantum work, because I am not yet a master, I am becoming one, and that's a journey, that's an evolution, right?
Yeah.
In that time and interim, it is very, very helpful to come and meet a person like you, and thank God you are so open, and you are, we can have those conversations, as opposed to, well, I'm just going to say it, as opposed to a lot of traditional medicine doctors, where they would allopathic doctors, right? When you would even open your mouth and talk about energy and quantum, they're like, so that's very Newtonian, right? That's very Newtonian. There's your leg, there's your hand, and the one leg doesn't have anything to do with your hand. It's not connected. We're going to take care of this. We're not going to take care of that. That's not what we are talking about here. So I just want to say that it is a very interesting experience for me to have those sessions with you, and I'm sure, and I really want to encourage our audience to come and see you if you're on the Costa Blanca, because that's where you practice currently, right?
Yes.
Even if you are like me, because there's our audience is very awakening and spiritual, and we are all having those huge aspirations, but there's no reason actually to be just so attached to certain point of view. If there is an issue and you can't deal with it yourself, go and see a person such as Anne, and if she has an open mind, she can actually help with that work that you do as well, right? Because if your body feels better, your spirit, your energy will flow better through that body. Don't you think?
Yes, we discussed that like in the last session, what you said earlier about your energy, and that you have like really high energy, and that relates also, that's the problem, that you want something with like the quantum master, but your energy as a person, you as a body, is totally different. And that's always hard. And that's an osteopath. We work a lot together with energy, like how things mobilize. We already see with your energy sitting on at least for the left side of the screen, and I'm on the right side, you have a totally different energy around you, which is a little bit higher than my energy. And everybody, not only as a person, but also as a physical body, has a different energy. And that needs to match. We can have a lot of problems if, for instance, people are really depressed and down or in a burnout, then energy is really, really low. But that's not the normal energy that they're having in their body. So as an osteopath, like if we have people come in who have like a burnout, who not only have physical problems, but also that they have emotional, a lot of stress and working on that, we can also help them with balancing out the body to make sure that the energy of the person is the same energy as in the body. And that's the nicest thing that we can do, that we can notice that. And I also show the patient, like I remember that I grabbed a little bit your belly and showed you what your mobility was as you shake a little bit the belly to the left and right. Everybody has a different rhythm and vibration in that by going back to the normal status when your belly is still. And that tells you also a little bit like how people are mobilizing, what their energy frequency is in their body.
Yeah.
And we have frequency in ourselves as well. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I believe that this is the Lovetarian way, I call it a quantum inner journey. And every journey is a journey. It's not a destination. Yes, of course, the results can happen, and they do happen. We know those cases where people have spontaneous healing when they are, in a room with high frequencies, when they go to a seminar with thousands of people and there's incredible vortex of energy. They can heal instantaneously. They allow it, they believe it, they are just taken by that vibration. Of course, that happens. I just don't want anybody to feel bad or less than if those results, they don't happen when you work on yourself, because that often can be disheartening, right, for people.
Yes.
It's like, why do they have it and I don't have it?
Yeah.
And then therefore they don't do the work that they could actually be doing without those huge expectations.
Yes.
What is to be is going to come anyway, right, on your journey.
And it can be a difficult path for some people, and other people are crossing that path or walking their path quicker than other people.
Exactly. And that's why, I mean, we talked about it as well, and that we came here to have a human experience as well, right? And it's great, it's fabulous. We are energy, we're infinite beings, we are having this human experience, and there's a reason why we came here, to have a human experience, isn't there?
Yes, and then we make it as pleasant as we can, without not a lot of complaints as well with that. Yeah, and that's also what we said. Like, yes, you can, spontaneous people heal with energy and all that, and but it's also important that people also help their body to heal. And that's all to do with all the energy. And that's why if you do meditation, if you don't have a lot of stress, and if you make sure that you're eating healthy and taking care of your body, then the self-healing starts also from that point of view. So we can wait and start with really difficult things like the high level, but there's low level things what we can do for our body in the here and now, which is for people really, well, not for everybody as easy, but there are steps which you can do which can change your body a lot.
I think that we definitely came to an agreement 100% between my, and your more grounded approach, that one thing is super important, and that is for healing, what is essential is the relaxation, right? And not having all those crazy expectations. Can you talk about why relaxation, why ease is important?
Yes. Well, we have, like, in our nervous systems, two systems. Like during the day, we're awake and our nervous system is active. And that is a little bit like, because we have so much stress. Like in the old days, we were hunters. So we needed that stress and our arousal when we went on hunting. It's a little bit the fight and flight reaction that we have. But nowadays, we have at least 50 or more triggers a day by stress, which is causing our body also to make harmful cells, which can cause disease and illness. That's why people are taking a lot of green tea, eating healthy, because that can take all those radicals from our cells away so that we can get better. But we can also make sure that we can do a step before that and make sure that we don't get all those free radicals in our blood, which can make us ill, because we have free radicals, and that's a little bit particles in our body from our cells, which come free also to heal the body. But with stress and with a lot of negative things in our body, we make too much. And too much of those particles will make you ill. But if we make sure that we don't get too much of those particles, then we can heal our body and help our body. And by getting less of those particles, we need to make sure that we heal our body. And that's what we do during the night. In the night, our body is more in the state, or when we're more relaxed, of healing. That's healing and regeneration. That's what we do when we sleep and when we're more relaxed. And nowadays, people, if I ask them how many hours do you sleep, I think I'm a big sleeper. So I need at least 8+ hours of sleep. I love my bed. But not a lot of people, yeah, I have a really nice bed, but not a lot of people sleep so many hours. Of course, we know then when we get older, we sleep less. Our body needs less hours of sleep, but it's really important that we take our time to rest. Simple things, by having a lot of stress, by drinking coffee, by getting Red Bull and all those things into our body, we make sure that our body doesn't get the right signals that you're tired. Because if we're tired, I take a cup of coffee. I don't, because I don't like it, but you take a cup of coffee and you feel not tired anymore. But your body already gave you the signal that it needed to rest because it needed to regenerate. Yeah. And if we're missing those simple signals by not listening to them, then we can't heal properly. And that's where a lot of people already start getting into problems.
Yeah. Well, I believe that's, society, the way that it developed a lot of quick fixes. It developed a lot of fixes, whatever they might be. I just mentioned, right? Red Bull or all sorts of substances that are altering the biochemistry of our body, and we hear ourselves less and less and less. So then, can you think about 3 to 5 tips that are very easy for people to follow in their daily routine to be focus more on prevention before something serious happens, right? So
what I already discussed is like 5. 5. Okay. So one is like really important is take enough sleep and make sure that your sleep is good enough, like a healthy sleeping pattern. That taking away your iPhone and everything just before you go to sleep. No, it's not good to look on the phone with the screen at the last moment, then putting it away and then falling asleep. A lot of people having problems with that, so they need a healthy sleep pattern. Next to that, really important not to drink a lot of coffee or caffeine into your body, because yes, it gives you a little bit of energy, but it's not good because it's also taking away the signals in how tired your body is. And also next to that, it also dehydrates your body. So like the Italians, if I say people, yes, I still want to drink, make sure that you drink water next to it, like the Italians do, a cup of coffee with a glass of water next to it, because you make sure that your water is enough in your system. And it's same getting then to 3, I think number 3, if I counted correctly, is that you need to drink enough water. And then I have a lot of times patients asking, what is enough water? Like, is it a 2 liter or is it 2.5? People get older, they don't want to go to the toilet all the time at night, or they're having more bladder issues. Then it's really not easy to drink 2.5 liters. And I always explain, because that's also what my experience in the Middle East taught me, that it's really important to just check your toilet bowl. If you've been to the toilet, just look in the toilet and see what color of your pee is. In the morning, you don't need to take that in consideration because you've been sleeping for a while. So that pee is always a little bit more yellow, a little bit more concentrated with all the waste products that need to leave your body. But during the day, you need to check and see in the bowl. And if it's a little bit yellow, you take a glass of water. And in the first couple of days, you need to go to the toilet more. So you're not going to like the advice that I'm giving about drinking more. But then your bodies and your kidneys are getting used to the amount of water or fluids that you're giving your body, and then it is starting to adapt, and that you're not going to go every 5 minutes to the toilet. So that's really important.
Wow.
And next to that, eating healthy. Make sure that you don't take a lot of fast food products, that you don't take all those nice, put everything in one bowl with together and don't know what's in the little packages with all the numbers, because there are so many, you don't know what they're doing. Make sure that you go to the supermarket and just buy fruits, vegetables, and meat. And yes, you can eat meat, not in high qualities, but in slower,
I'm
lower
gonna go
qualities.
there, Lovetarians now.
Yes,
If
yes,
you think you need to eat meat, well, do your thing. Lovetarian is about loving yourself. People know
yes,
what I have to stop you there, right? Because it's like
yes.
Natalia doesn't eat meat.
I know, and everybody can, as
Exactly.
long as you listen, like you said, I'm not eating meat because I don't feel that's good for my body. I also have the beliefs for the animals and all the rest. If we look in how the body is built, we're built to eat meat. We're omnivores, so
Yeah.
not yeah, we're eating
That will
vegetables.
be another episode. Should we eat
It
meat?
is.
I shall
No,
just rest my case here.
it is, and I think, and that's the nicest thing. Everybody can have their own beliefs,
Yes.
but my most
We,
important
we
belief
can.
is
Here's the thing, Anna, right? It's like
yes,
we can agree about that. We have equipment that we can, or we can choose not to, because as a
yes,
higher elevated being, you can choose
of
not to.
course,
Then your
yes,
body can get nutrition from something else. But if you
yes,
want to have it,
yes. Then your body can deal with it,
yeah.
because we can eat meat and we can eat fruits and vegetables. That's how our body is dealt with, and everybody can choose their own way. And I don't have any plus or that I before for or against anything, as long as you listen to your body and that you do what you think that's good for your body and what your body is telling you. And that's
Exactly.
really important, and that you eat healthy and that you also enjoy your meal. So
Yeah.
not really fast, putting it inwards, and after that slouch on the sofa and lay down, but enjoy it, take your time. Your body is developed, and that's what we a lot of time don't know. That, for example, if we eat and our food gets into our stomach, and all the salivas from our mouth and from our stomachs all come together and starts mixing, it takes like 30 minutes for your body, from like your stomach is saying, okay, I give a signal to my brain that your stomach is full. So if people are like really shoving themselves full with a lot of food, afterwards their belly is really full and they're missing the signal. So make sure that you chew enough, that you take your time for eating, and listen to the signal that your body says, I have enough. And then it's enough, and then you go on for that. But it's, you can eat a lot in 30 minutes if you don't listen to those signals.
Don't you agree that if we learn to live more in alignment with our true nature, we would be present with our food, we will show gratitude, blessing, we will chew every bite a lot of times, we would take a moment, it would not be this rush, right? People like, I've got
Yes,
to go to a meeting, this and that. But if we ate like, old school, old times, just to sit with the family, chew your food, enjoy the colors,
yes,
enjoy the variety, well, we would be actually satisfied faster, and we would
yes,
be enjoying more, right? And the body, it actually wouldn't matter so much what actually we eat, but if we chew it and we liquefy the food in our mouth, the nutrients will be there, right? And
yes,
of course the gratitude, right? The
yes.
enjoyment, right?
Yes, yes. I always say, do as the Buddhists do. They chew 30 times on what they've got in their mouth.
Yeah.
Go home tonight, or you're already home, but check and see how many times you're chewing before you swallow it. A lot of
Yes.
times that's not 30 times,
Yes.
because we're rushing it. Also, sometimes we're overboiling things. It's the easy way of doing things. But if we take our time, set the table, sit down, relax, and really enjoy the food, we're also, if we're noticing the food, what we're eating, we don't need all the substances. We can
Yes.
notice the taste of the food for what it is. And a lot of people say, oh, that's boring if you eat broccoli without anything. There's no sauce, or do you put any spices on it?
Broccoli.
We eat our broccoli. I love broccoli. There's a lot of vitamins and fibers in that. But we eat our broccoli without anything on it. And it's just the taste of broccoli. And then you start noticing it has taste. Even cauliflower, everybody says it's bland. It's not bland, but yeah.
It's interesting thing that you're saying here, because when I was, I'm on and off, right? From 100% plant-based to switching to some organic, ideally, good cheeses, good, eggs, and some pescatarian nutrition. I absolutely have a big no-no, 12 years now, to eat the flesh of the four-legged and birds, and that, because I have this, it was the soul connection, it was the emotion there, it was like, I looked at my dog and I didn't want to eat him, so I said, why do I eat a pig or a cow? It was, and that's the thing, when you have this kind of soul connection, it becomes not about nutrition anymore, right? It becomes about something else. But on the nutritional travel, looking at my body, what it was telling me, I found it beneficial to occasionally eat some animal products, but not the flesh of animals, so to speak, except for fish, right? But this is a discussion for another time. What I was getting at was that in the modern society, the modern society has been going on for a few decades, actually even 100+ years, it became more about the flavors and the appetites, not about hunger, right? While the body, actually, the way it was created, it's like you eat when you're hungry, you drink when you're hungry. But now it's all about those substances that make us hungrier, that we eat with our eyes, right? All the candy, all the, cool looking things that are not necessarily super amazing for our body.
Yes.
As they are created. It's like the food is made in a lab, right?
Well, that's also like what the food industry, of course, is doing. Like if we go to the supermarket and then check which is like food, how food should be, like if we speak easily about fruit, vegetables, and meat, and like that, there's a lot of aisles with a lot of products in it that you go like, what is that? Why do we need those? And of course, it's really nice to eat a cookie or anything else from time to time. But that's how the food industry really got into our systems, because we like sweets, we like certain flavors which were in nature. There are not like honey, there's not a hive on any tree where we can pick the honey out. So that's why when we are seeing those products, that we really want that, because it gives us a lot of energy, because there isn't a lot of products in nature that gives us really a lot of energy really fast. And that's what a lot of products are now being built up, that it gives you fast energy and that we feel good about it. But the question is, are we feeding our body, or are we feeding our soul or our emotions at that moment? And I think it's mostly the last. I notice it when I'm tired. I want to eat chocolate.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Definitely. Nobody thinks about it this way. Well, nobody. Of course, there are exceptions. A minority of people, rather, the more awakened, the more they will be focused on, okay, really tuning in. Why am I tired? Would it be beneficial for me to grab a cup of coffee or chocolate? Or would I just go for a walk, maybe do some stretching, maybe do some breathing, little meditation? And that will have an amazing effect. But we're used to, let's just grab that coffee. Let's just grab that chocolate.
Of course, right? It works quicker. It doesn't give us a lot of energy. At least to do that, like getting the chocolate or the chocolate bar, takes a lot of energy from our body. And if I go on a walk or anything, that's a lot of energy. So you need to be mentally really motivated by doing that.
Yes.
And some people have like other buttons. Some people, like if you look at the people who are doing sports and stuff, they have other buttons in their bodies, which can, like when they're having pain after running a marathon, they can still run. And well, I can't. I will stop. I have the brain game every time thinking, oh, I have a lot of pain and I'm going to stop because my body is telling me to stop. So everybody has a different way of being tuned by listening to their body.
Yeah, but also it's like, I am brought up in a way, that, you achieve, you get on with it. It doesn't matter. You can do it. So, okay, you can live like that as well. But how do you want to live? What kind of experience do you want to have? Nothing is better or it's worse. It's what you want, how you want to live. I mean, you are a sovereign being. So create the life that you want. If you prefer to relax, lie down in a corpse position, and just chill and visualize, that's awesome. But if you want to go for a run and that works for you, that's awesome too. And that's the Lovetarian way, do what works for you, right?
Yes.
And be okay with that, be at peace. Because I believe that's what would also cause a lot of conflict in our body and disease would be this, this is what I want to do, but that's what they want me to. That's what my mommy told me. That's what my peers are telling me, right?
Yeah. All the judgment from all the corners that we're judging other people, we're being watched or we're being judged. And that's really hard, that you can't make a full choice by saying, I'm going to take care of me. And it's me time now. And that's different societies within that. Like we spoke about that this week, that like our society have been brought up to say yes and smile and do things. And then
our generation,
yes, our generation, yes. And we are doing that, and straight away our body, and especially our stomach, our emotional part of our body is telling us straight away, you get like stomach pain, it feels tight, and it's telling us we said yes, but we should have said no. And in the generation, that's what he talked about, of my children, which are 15 and 17, is totally different. They're more egoistic, and they're not thinking about, if I don't want to do it, I'm going to smile and say yes. No, they're not going to do it, even if you ask pretty please. And hopefully the next generation is going to be differently, with more balanced. And that's what you see in generations, that they've been brought up differently. People change over time, and this is balancing out, but we need to start listening to our bodies. And that's what I tell a lot of people from our generation. Listen to what your body is telling you. Like, don't say straight away yes, but listen, close your eyes and feel what your belly is telling you, because that's giving you an answer a lot of questions. Yes. And we don't listen to that.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, actually, I will bring the pillars of the Lovetarian way, the guidance that I received from my higher self, guides, whatever. It just came from the field. And it lies very well in my belly, in my heart. And now it's just a question of living it. So the first pillar that I received was about accepting 100% responsibility for our life. And not with this, obligation. No, responsibility means responsibility, your ability to respond to whatever life is presenting you with, because you are actually a co-creator of your reality on all levels. Your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your words, you get to choose how you're going to act, how you're going to talk, how you're going to think. You can actually choose that. We have that power, and people are very preoccupied looking on the out there, right? Like how I'm going to tell them what to do, how they will tell me what to do. But you have the power to choose and accept that fact that you do.
Yeah, but it's really hard. And
can be, if we believe it is, right?
It is. And step one is just listening. Take a step back and start listening into what your body tells you. And if you don't want to go to a party, or if you're at a party and you want to go home because you're tired, why can't we say, I'm tired, I'm going to go home? I do that. But I also had to learn to do that and go like, if you are judging me because I want to go home and I'm tired, that's not my problem. But that's hard for a lot of people. And you need to be really strong as a person to start doing that.
Either that, or it's like, we humans are funny, because a lot of us will make that kind of change and choose to awaken to our real power by suffering. When we suffer, and we suffer so much, or something horrible happens, then we start to look deeper, and we start to look why, and how could I live differently, why that happened, right? So it would be nice if we were prevention focused humans, but most humans are actually fixing, right? It already happened, so let's change.
Yes. And that's what I see in the clinic daily, that if people come in and they have problems, and I ask them like, how long do you have the shoulder pain for? And mostly you would think like, oh, a couple of weeks maximum. And then they will say, no, I have this for like years. And then you go like, okay, that's nice. But why this is the first time that you're seeing somebody? Yeah. That's quite of interesting. Like, why are people walking with problems such a long time and thinking that the body can solve it? It can solve a lot of things, but sometimes it's stuck and it needs help.
Yes.
And that can be external, or that you are reading about what you can do with food or other things that you can do, but it needs help. Pain is a big signal of your body that it needs help. So we need to start listening.
Exactly. So with the Lovetarian Way podcast, with the Lovetarian Way, actually, I encourage people to join the Facebook group. We have almost 3,000 people there. We don't accept everybody. We accept people who are willing to accept this kind of way of living. It's not we're not going to convince anybody that, you deserve freedom, you deserve love. That's your birthright. You need to be ready to accept that possibility. And if you're willing to be happy, if you're willing to let go of suffering, if you're willing to let go of pain, because actually you have that much power to say, my life is mine. Yes. I will live my life. And if you really love yourself, my belief is, and through a life experience, I can say that it's been true. If I am truly, truly, truly loving myself, I will never, ever be an asshole to another person, because I see them as a mirror image of that energy that I possess and they possess it. Mm-hmm. And I will be good to another person, That is the most natural state. That brings me to pillar 2, that guided us, that we are all one source energy. Of course, you are you, I am me. We are at the essence connected, and we could call it energy sisters, spiritual sisters and brothers. I mean, that's just the reality of it. We're birthed from the same source, right?
Yeah.
So we give people permission to just fully express, be themselves. We are doing this to the best of our abilities, and it's a journey. Also, please love yourself through it, because it's a journey. As you said, it can be hard at times. It can feel hard. And why it's hard, right? Because of all those expectations, because of all the programming since forever.
Yeah. And I always explain patients, like, even with their change in their bodies, or even if you're walking another road or anything, like if I walk up the mountains, and we have a lot of mountains here where we live, but the road is not all the way straight up and then see and you can be all the way at the top. No, it goes down a little bit, and then it goes up, and it goes a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. So the path is not all the way up and all the time better. No, there are also some times when you're having a hard time. But that's learning. That's also enjoying of the path, because maybe there are some beautiful flowers for you that you needed to see, enable to become to the top where you want to be. So as long as you see it that way and enjoy the path that you're walking, and also that you can do it only yourself. You can't change other people or things around you. You can only change yourself. And that's what we can do during our life. Yes. And hopefully people are walking the path and not standing still for a really long time.
Perfect. Well, and 1 hour is coming up. We could talk many more hours. There's lots of other questions, but we're just going to encourage people to listen, to re-listen, listen to your, I believe you gave 4 tips eventually, because we obviously digress. No, it's actually, I got into food and meat or no meat.
Yes.
Just listen. And thank you, everybody. If you would like to contact Anne, here is her website, CostaBlancaOsteopaths.com. Maybe you can even do some virtual consultations if you are somewhere in the world, right? So today in this world of technology,
just email me and or get some contact, and let's see from there.
And really join the group. Yes, check our YouTube channel. Do that and look at other episodes. And I want to encourage you to join me on the Lovetarian Way show next week with Jill Harrison, Avatar, Archangel Messenger. We will talk about awesome stuff. And then 2 weeks from now, we will have a German energy healer, Daniel Stoklosa, and we're going to talk to him about how energy can help you heal as well. So join us. Love you from my heart to yours. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Awesome day. Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.